So the entire Seattle Storm situation is something that, look, nobody knows about what's going on. This seems to be he said, she said, and honestly, it's from by the looks of things, it is NECA, Skylar Diggins, and the coaching staff against the Storm. Like that is genuinely what it seems like. That it's the two of those and the coaching staff against the rest of the team. Because we've seen like Mercedes Russell, we've seen and Gabby Williams, but like we have seen an awful lot of scenarios where, or an awful lot of like situations where it doesn't seem like their team chemistry was good. It doesn't seem like they were playing the best, and now we've obviously got what we know the allegations of bullying, and it is an interesting one. But now we have gotten to the stage where ESPN are reporting about it. It says here, ESPN, Storm investigating coaches for alleged player mistreatment. And again, the original thing was said a while ago, obviously from Sabria. She had posted something that made it look pretty bad. And then it wasn't just like, these players are what's it, like, they're just being hard on the players. It seemed like it was a little bit worse. Like, it was this post right here. And the fact that this was the post that triggered the whole thing means there's some credibility to this post, or whoever this person is knows something. And basically, there are more rumors that Noelle and her coach staff are being abusive towards players. They threatened a player, creating a hostile environment, caused division amongst players, called players slurs, B-word, dumb, and all kinds of other abusive terms. I'm hearing it was so bad the president of Ticket Sales quit. Apparently, he didn't quit. But this was, again, this was 3 weeks ago. This was before the whole thing's come out. And then obviously, Jewel Lloyd's mom was happy about this coming out. And a lot of people were like, oh, Jewel Lloyd just couldn't take hard coaching. But like, Jewel Lloyd has won multiple championships. Like, no offense to Skylar Diggins and Eka Nwumike, Jewel Lloyd has won more championships than both of them combined. So, obviously, it's very different. This sounds like it is. It's complete player division. It's created a player division where it seems like obviously it is it's not really black or white. I reckon it's probably a case of like, I don't know, Diggins and Eka Nwumike thinking it was justified, and then the others probably thinking it went too far, because obviously these players are being coached hard. And then obviously you've got the journalist that worked for the Seattle Storm that made sure to say that she was a journalist. And yeah, like, tried to throw Jewel Lloyd under the bus. But the maddest part about this all is that ESPN are covering it. You're seeing non-WNBA media now picking up this story. But the WNBA media are silent. Not even in it from a discussion point of view. The only people in the WNBA media that have spoken about this were Annie Constable, who broke the story. And obviously, when it comes to Annie Constable, she's probably the gold standard when it comes to WNBA journalism without any sort of I'm not gonna say biases, because there's obviously gonna be some biases, but like without any personal, it doesn't seem like she has personal relationships to anybody. Yeah, she's a big Caitlin Clark fan, which is, I know some people have a big problem with, but like, she seems to be almost the Woj of the WNBA, and it seems like, whereas, I mean, I reckon all the WNBA journalists had this story, but they were scared to break anything. They were scared to say anything. I don't know, maybe they were scared because, you know, maybe they're buddy-buddy with Eka Nwumike. Maybe they're buddy-buddy with Skylar Diggins. And, yeah, it's like it is what it is. It is what it is, I guess. But, yeah, it is. It's just an annoying thing to see the way this isn't, like, there's no discussion. It's just like the Hamby situation where it's like, you will see, like, impartial people, like, things talking about it, where it's like, you will see ESPN in general, Sports Illustrated in general, but the people that are the quote-unquote WNBA journalists, they won't mention it. They will not mention it, because they've got too many close relationships with these players. They've got too many close relationships with these coaches. They're scared to say anything. And, like, we've seen how bad that can be on the NBA side when people are scared to say anything about LeBron James. And that is a problem in its own right. But it seems to be where it's like, if you are in the club, which it seems that Eka Nwumike and Skylar, maybe, I don't even know what story is with Skylar Diggins, because she's, like, Taurasi hated her, so she's not in the club. Like, so apparently that was the reason why she had no chance of making the Olympics team, was Taurasi just wouldn't play with her. So, we've got that, but it's like, the old guard of the WNBA can get away with whatever they want. Like, again, the Aces with Becky Hammon. The actual WNBA media mostly took Becky Hammon's side in that scenario. And, I mean, even if you don't think, like, the lawsuit and everything was deserved, and maybe you don't think that it should have been worthy of a ban, to say that, like, Becky Hammon was, like, best case scenario, you could say morally wrong. Like, even if you were saying, oh, it was the best thing for the team and all this stuff, but you could, even looking at it in its most favorable way, it was still morally wrong. Either way, though, we're seeing ESPN talk about it, which is a big deal. Seattle brought in Nneka Nwumike and Skylar Diggins. Quinn expressed disappointment with the team's effort at different points in the season after being swept by the Aces. Talked about issue in a press conference. I will be better. Our team will be better. Effort will never be a thing for us again. But, like, this was a really, really kind of mad situation, because it seemed whatever the hell happened at the Olympic break, because the Storm were really good before the Olympic break. Whatever the Fever did to the Storm that day. And by the way, that was the turning point for the Seattle Storm season. Was when the Fever beat them, Noelle Quinn got into it with Christy Sides, and Skylar Diggins shoved Caitlin Clark. That was when their season completely went. So we can talk about, Jewel Lloyd shooting percentages. Jewel Lloyd did the same thing from game 1 to game 40. She did the same thing from game 1 to game 40. She just didn't shoot the best. Skylar Diggins, in fairness, finished the season incredibly well. Nneka Nwumike was awful to end the season. She was absolutely awful. So if this is about, X and Y player being held accountable, man, Jewel Lloyd did the same thing from game 1 to game 40. She shoots the ball a lot, and she sometimes scores a lot, and she sometimes misses a lot. So, like, I don't know. But, like, it is a very interesting situation to see what will happen from this. And the funniest thing is, if it's not Annie Constable, this is going to be broken by, like, a freaking NBA journalist, because the WNBA journalists are scared. I don't know. Maybe they're scared to piss off a player that they might have a relationship with. Or they're scared to piss off Nneka Nwumike. Just like they're scared to piss off Aja Wilson. They're scared to piss off, like, all of these players that were the old guard. But the reality is they're not scared to piss off. Yeah, they're not scared to piss off the Caitlin Clarks of the world. They're not going to be scared to piss off Paige Beckers next year. I can tell you that for sure. But anyway, yeah, that is pretty much it. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Obviously, I think this whole thing is just going to be he said, she said. Like, I think the problem is that when it comes to the WNBA, like, it's very, very hard to take anything because, again, the only people that have talked about it are Annie Constable, who didn't give any facts. ESPN are now posting about it. Sports Illustrated are posting about it. And then you've got your one, Roberta, who is obviously biased. Like, if you start off your article by saying, I'm a journalist and I'm not biased, you are obviously biased. But anyway, yeah, that is pretty much it. See you guys.